We're now going to see how Python is an interactive language. So that means that you can execute a single line of code directly and obtain a result, and then execute another line of code and get that result, and repeatedly interact with the language. So one line at a time. So you're constantly writing code, executing it, getting a result, and then just repeating that process over and over again. So not all languages are interactive. Some of them require you to compile it down into another file, and then you can execute that file. So you can't just get an immediate result. Python is great in that you can always get these results and get some feedback from your code in whatever environment that you're using. We're currently using Jupyter Notebooks. There are multiple ways to run Python interactively. We are doing so right now in a Jupyter Notebook. So again, we can create a variable like a. We can make b equal to a raised to the third power minus 40, floor division 3, and print that out. And we can take b and multiply it by 4 and get a result like that. So that is what is meant by interactive. You're constantly running code, getting results, and then running another piece of code. You can also, you don't have to use the Jupyter Notebook. The Jupyter Notebook is just this nice display that intertwines text, like up here, with code, and I find it to be one of the best ways to interact with Python. You can also use something called the Python shell. I'm going to show that right now. I'm going to go back onto my desktop and show you how to run the Python shell. So what you'll need to do is open up a new terminal or a new Anaconda prompt, and you should be able to do that the same way you just open up the original. So here I'm just going to do terminal or new window over here. And so now I can, this new Jupyter Notebook that is running will still be running in the background. So you just can ignore this for now. And to run the Python shell, you simply type in the word Python like this, just Python by itself, just like that. And it'll start this interactive session. And this is called a prompt over here. And this is where you can write in your Python code. Now it's just much simpler than the Jupyter Notebook, but it still does the exact same thing. So we can do some operations like 6 times 9, you get 54. We can assign variables like a equals 5, like this, and just press enter to execute the command that you've just run, and then a raised to the 4th power minus 90, something like that. So you get results like that. So this is how you can interactive with Python in a much simpler interface. I'm going to exit out of here. So the way to get out of here is a little tricky. You have to write exit and then open parentheses, close parentheses like this. So that will exit out of there. And we're back over here. So we're back in our normal terminal or Anaconda prompt. Another way to use there's a different shell called the IPython shell. And shell just means an area where you can write code interactively or write commands interactively with some program. So this was just the default Python shell right here. You just type in the word Python and you can start writing in some commands over here like this. This is usually done whenever you just want to do something quick and pretty simple and just trying to get some result quickly and just kind of play around. Another shell is called the IPython shell. If you just write in IPython and press enter, this will start a new prompt, and it'll look pretty similar to Jupyter Notebook with this in written to the left. And then you just write your code over here, and it works the same exact way. You do like 8 times 43. And you can see there's an out section. If there is an out section here, let's do assign a to the value of 5. There's no out section here. So Jupyter Notebooks essentially place a nice display around this IPython shell so that you can operate it in your browser over here. Now you can get out of here by just typing in exit like this. You don't need parentheses. It'll just exit like that. And but the Python, you do need parentheses. So those are two different shells. If I'm going to use a Python shell, I'm gonna actually use IPython. It's just easier to use, and there's a few more commands here that are specially built in that give you a little bit more power. That's not important now. What I'm trying to get at is that these are just different ways to use Python interactively, from your machine. So that's the Python shell, IPython shell, and then the Jupyter Notebook, which we are in now.